Have you ever paused for a moment and asked yourself why your heart feels heavy, why your mind feels restless, why joy slips through your fingers like sand? We live in a world where emotions often come uninvited, like shadows following us in the daylight, and we are left wondering why we feel what we feel. Let me tell you this: your feelings are not enemies, they are messages. They are whispers from within that demand your attention. Every tear that falls, every burst of anger, every moment of fear is not random. It is a language that your soul is speaking. When you feel anxious, it is not because something is broken in you. It is because your inner self is alerting you to something that needs to be understood. When you feel sad, it is not because life is cruel. It is because a part of you is processing a story you have lived through. Every emotion has a reason, even if that reason is hidden from your conscious mind. You cannot control how feelings appear, but you can control how you respond to them. Do not fight your feelings. Do not shove them aside. Do not pretend they do not exist. Sit with them, listen to them. Ask yourself, why is this feeling here? What is it trying to teach me? What truth am I ignoring? You see, when you begin to explore your feelings, you begin to uncover patterns. You see the connections between your past and your present. You see how your thoughts shape your experience. You begin to understand that your feelings are not burdens, they are guides. Most people spend their lives running from how they feel, chasing after what they think will make them happy. They try to cover fear with excitement, cover sadness with business, cover emptiness with noise. But the truth is, happiness does not come from avoiding feelings, it comes from understanding them. True power is not in denying emotions, true power is in embracing them and using them as fuel. Every feeling is energy that can be transformed into clarity, motivation, and action. So when you feel overwhelmed, when you feel lost, when your mind and heart are at war, remember this: your feelings are your allies. They are pointing you to where growth is needed, where healing is possible, where freedom is waiting. Do not resist the message, listen closely. Explore gently. Accept fully. When you do this, you stop being a passenger in your own life and you begin to be the driver. You begin to choose your responses instead of being controlled by reactions. Your feelings are messages, not mistakes. It is a truth we often overlook because we are taught to push emotions aside to appear strong, to appear capable, to appear in control. From a young age, we are conditioned to believe that some feelings are good and some are bad, as if joy deserves applause and sadness deserves silence. But every feeling that arises within you carries a message. Every wave of emotion is a signal from your inner self, a language that your heart and mind speak when they need attention. It is not a coincidence when you feel anxious before a big decision or restless when your life is out of alignment. Your feelings are not errors. They are invitations to notice, to reflect, to understand. They are the compass pointing you toward the parts of your life that demand truth and awareness. Think about the moments when you feel frustrated or disappointed. It is easy to blame the situation, to blame the people around you, to blame yourself. And yet, if you pause and listen carefully, you begin to see that the frustration is a teacher. It is showing you that your expectations are misaligned, that boundaries have been crossed, or that you are denying a part of yourself. Every feeling holds this hidden wisdom. Even the feelings you consider negative carry meaning. Anger, fear, sadness, jealousy, or regret are not indicators that something is wrong with you. They are indicators that something needs attention within your life. You do not need to silence them, you need to understand them. Too often, we rush past emotions because they are uncomfortable. We live in a culture that prizes productivity and efficiency, where every emotion that slows us down is seen as a burden. But feelings are not interruptions. They are signals. They are messages written by your mind and heart in a language that is uniquely yours. Anxiety tells you that your inner world is in tension with your external world. Sadness tells you that something you value has been lost or overlooked. Excitement tells you that a path aligns with your deepest desires. Every sensation, every inner tug, every pulse of emotion is purposeful. Ignoring them is like closing your eyes while navigating a storm. You will still move forward, but blindly, without understanding, without clarity. Learning to treat feelings as messages begins with presence. It begins with noticing without judgment. When a feeling arises, do not rush to label it as good or bad. Instead, ask yourself why it is here. What is it trying to communicate? How does it connect to your experiences, your desires, or your fears? When you pause to reflect, the emotion transforms from a random disturbance into a source of insight. You start seeing patterns. You start noticing triggers. You begin to understand not only the world around you, but the world within you. Many people believe that controlling feelings means suppressing them, hiding them, or avoiding them. True control does not come from pushing feelings away. True control comes from embracing them, listening to them, and allowing them to guide you. Your feelings are data, raw information about your relationship with your environment and yourself. They are like signals on a dashboard. When the light flashes, it is not to punish you, it is to alert you to act, to adjust, to respond. And when you respond with awareness, when you act in alignment with the messages your feelings carry, you create harmony between your inner world and your outer world. Remember, your feelings are not permanent dictators over your life. They are not chains that bind you. They are mirrors reflecting your inner truths. They are teachers whose lessons you cannot learn if you refuse to look. Each time you acknowledge a feeling without shame or fear, you strengthen your connection to yourself. Each time you listen to the quiet messages beneath anger, sadness, or fear, you gain insight, clarity, and the power to respond rather than react. Your feelings are not mistakes. They are not weaknesses. They are the most honest communication you have with yourself. When you begin to see them as messages, your life begins to shift. You stop blaming yourself or the world. You start exploring, understanding, and aligning. You start navigating life with intention, guided by the wisdom that has always been within you, waiting patiently for your attention. Embrace your feelings. Listen to them. Learn from them. In doing so, you honor the most important relationship you will ever have, the one with yourself. Every emotion has a root. Explore it to understand yourself. Often we experience feelings as if they float in the air, unconnected to anything. Random sparks in our consciousness. You feel sad, angry, anxious, or elated, and yet we rarely pause to ask why these emotions have appeared. What seeds have grown into these responses? What past experiences or current circumstances have shaped them? But the truth is, every feeling has a root. Every surge of emotion is a reaction to something deeper, a reflection of experiences, beliefs, and unmet needs that exist within you. To understand why you feel what you feel, you must become willing to look beneath the surface, to dig beyond the noise, and discover the origin of the energy stirring inside. When you take the time to trace your emotions back to their source, you begin to see patterns. You start noticing how past events influence present reactions. You see how fears planted long ago manifest as doubts today. You see how unhealed wounds create repeated cycles of anger, sadness, or insecurity. It is not easy work. Exploring the root of a feeling requires courage, patience, and honesty. It asks you to confront the stories you tell yourself, the lies you may have believed about your worth, the unresolved conflicts that linger in your mind. And yet, the moment you begin this exploration, you step into the most powerful form of self-knowledge. Think about fear. Fear is rarely just fear. It is a signal from your past, an echo of experiences where you felt unsafe, rejected, or unprepared. When you feel fear today, it is not always about the present moment. It is a reaction to your inner map of the world, shaped by previous experiences. By tracing that fear to its root, You can understand what truly threatens you and what exists only as a shadow from yesterday. Understanding the origin of your fear does not make it disappear immediately, but it allows you to respond with awareness rather than react unconsciously. It transforms fear from a stumbling block into a guide, pointing you toward areas of growth and understanding. Sadness operates in a similar way. Sadness often feels like a weight pressing down on your chest, yet it carries a message. It is rarely random. It emerges because a part of you recognizes loss, unmet expectations, or a need for healing. When you explore the root of sadness, you see not only the event that triggered it, but also the deeper needs and values that matter to you. You realize that emotions are not obstacles to overcome, but signals to honor the truths of your inner world. By understanding the roots, you give yourself permission to grieve, to release, and to grow. Anger, too, has its origin. Anger is not simply a reaction to someone's words or actions. It is often a reflection of boundaries being crossed, values being challenged, or inner truths being ignored. When you pause to trace the root of anger, you gain clarity about what matters to you, what you need to protect, and where your energy should go. You begin to see that anger is not a force to suppress, but a teacher showing you where strength and assertiveness are needed. Exploring the roots of your emotions requires reflection, mindfulness, and sometimes difficult introspection. It demands that you slow down and ask yourself questions others rarely encourage. Why do I feel this? What past experience is influencing this reaction? What unmet need or fear is hidden behind this emotion? When you commit to this practice, you cultivate emotional literacy. You learn that your feelings are not random explosions, but threads connected to your story, to your mind, to your heart. You start seeing the intricate connections between thought, experience, and emotion. You start understanding that your inner world is a living ecosystem where every reaction has meaning, every wave of energy has direction, and every feeling can guide you if you listen carefully. When you explore the roots of your feelings, you reclaim control over your life. You no longer allow emotions to dictate your actions unconsciously. You respond rather than react. You navigate challenges with insight rather than confusion. You discover that understanding yourself is not a one-time act, but a lifelong journey of attention and awareness. Each emotion is a signpost, each reaction a clue, each pattern a map leading deeper into your self-awareness. Your feelings are never random, and your inner world is never silent. Every emotion, every wave of energy, every response has a root waiting to be discovered. By exploring the roots of your emotions, you do not just understand yourself, you transform your life. You learn to respond consciously, act with intention, and cultivate a life aligned with the truths you uncover within. Take the time to explore the origins of what you feel. In doing so, you unlock the wisdom that has always been within you. Fear and sadness are guides, not enemies. This is a truth that many of us struggle to accept because fear feels heavy and sadness feels endless. We are taught from an early age that these emotions are undesirable, that they must be avoided, that they signal weakness. Yet the reality is the exact opposite. Fear and sadness are not punishments. They are messages from the depths of your inner world, signposts showing where attention, care, and understanding are needed. They are not enemies waiting to sabotage you. They are allies waiting to teach you. Every time fear rises in your chest or sadness settles in your heart, it is your inner self speaking, inviting you to look closer, to listen more carefully, to understand what has been neglected or ignored. Fear is often misunderstood. We think of fear as something to fight against, something to overcome as quickly as possible. We run from it, distract ourselves, or suppress it, believing that courage is the absence of fear. But courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the willingness to feel it fully, to acknowledge its presence, and to move forward despite it. Fear is a guide showing you where your edges are, where your comfort zones end, and where growth begins. When you pay attention to fear, you begin to understand the areas of your life that challenge you the most. Fear is not there to stop you. It is there to teach you where your attention and focus are required. It is a signal that something matters deeply, that a part of you is calling for recognition, preparation, and understanding. Sadness carries a similar message. Sadness is often labeled as weakness or failure, yet it is a reflection of your humanity. It arises when something important is missing, when loss has occurred, or when life does not align with your expectations. Rather than dismissing it, sadness should be honored. It is a guide showing you the areas of your life where healing is required, where emotional needs are unmet, or where values have been compromised. Sadness is a teacher of empathy, compassion, and self-awareness. It allows you to connect deeply with your own experience and with the experiences of others. The more you embrace it, the more you understand that sadness is not a state to escape but a message to explore. When you treat fear and sadness as guides rather than enemies, your relationship with your emotions transforms. You stop resisting what arises within you. You stop judging yourself for feeling what you feel. You begin to recognize that every uncomfortable feeling is a signpost pointing toward growth. Fear signals preparation and courage. Sadness signals reflection and healing. Both demand attention, both require acknowledgement, and both offer insight. Many people fail to see the gifts in fear and sadness because they confuse intensity with danger. The intensity of emotion does not mean it is harmful, it means it is important. A sudden wave of fear is your mind alerting you to something that requires careful thought and presence. A deep ache of sadness is your heart signaling a need to grieve, to honor, and to release. When you follow these guides rather than fight them, you cultivate wisdom, resilience, and self-mastery. The practice of honoring fear and sadness begins with presence. When these emotions arise, do not run, do not numb, do not pretend they do not exist. Instead, breathe into them. Ask questions like, what is this feeling trying to tell me? Where in my life does this emotion connect? What does my heart need in this moment? The answers will not always be immediate, but the act of exploring is itself transformative. By giving attention to these emotions, you gain clarity, self-awareness, and insight into your patterns and needs. You learn to navigate life with intention rather than react to circumstances unconsciously. Fear and sadness also teach patience and self-compassion. They remind you that growth is rarely instant, that healing is rarely linear, and that understanding yourself is a journey rather than a destination. When you embrace them as guides, you stop blaming yourself for feeling them and start learning from them. You start seeing the wisdom hidden in discomfort. You start trusting that every emotional wave carries a lesson, every difficult moment carries a hidden opportunity, and every response to these guides builds strength, insight, and resilience. In the end, fear and sadness are not obstacles, but companions on your journey. They guide you toward awareness, reflection, and growth. They show you what matters, where attention is needed, and how to align your actions with your truth. When you accept their presence and follow their guidance, life becomes not a struggle against emotion, but a conversation with it, a dialogue that leads to clarity, empowerment, and transformation. Honor your fear. Honor your sadness. Let them teach you the depth of your courage and the power of your heart. Ignoring emotions steals your power. Acknowledging them restores it. Too often, we treat our feelings as interruptions, obstacles, or weaknesses. When anger rises, we shove it aside. When sadness comes, we distract ourselves. When fear whispers, we silence it with busyness or avoidance. We are trained to believe that strength is measured by how little we feel, by how well we can suppress our inner storms. But this is an illusion. Every time you ignore a feeling, you surrender a part of your power. You give control of your inner world to circumstance, to past experiences, and to reactions that are not fully conscious. Power does not lie in denial. It lies in presence. It lies in acknowledgement. It lies in choosing to meet your feelings with attention, understanding, and intention. Acknowledging your emotions is not always easy. It requires courage because it means facing parts of yourself that are uncomfortable, inconvenient, or unfamiliar. When sadness appears, it may reveal losses you have not admitted. When fear rises, it may expose vulnerabilities you have hidden. When anger surfaces, it may reflect boundaries that have been crossed or values that have been compromised. These feelings are mirrors. They reflect the truths you cannot see when you look only at the surface of life. To ignore them is to blind yourself to your own reality. To acknowledge them is to reclaim your vision, to regain insight into your inner world. When you begin to acknowledge your feelings, you realize that emotions are not enemies. They are information. They provide guidance, highlight priorities, and illuminate areas that require attention. Anger can show you where assertiveness or boundaries are necessary. Sadness can highlight areas that need compassion or healing. Fear can point to situations where preparation, courage, or discernment is required. Each feeling carries a message, and each message is a tool for growth, awareness, and empowerment. Ignoring these messages does not remove them. It only allows them to control you silently. A storm contained within you may not be visible, but it still shapes your choices, your reactions, and your energy. Acknowledgement restores power because it allows you to respond consciously rather than react unconsciously. When a wave of emotion arises and you meet it with awareness, you create a space between stimulus and response. You choose whether to act in alignment with your values or to act out of impulse. This space, this pause, is where power is reclaimed. When you notice your feelings without judgment, you turn what was once a force that swept you away into a tool that guides you. You transform chaos into clarity, reaction into choice, and emotion into energy that serves your purpose rather than controls it. Ignoring feelings may seem easier in the short term, but in the long term, it drains energy. Suppressed sadness can turn into anxiety. Repressed fear can limit growth, and buried anger can erupt unexpectedly. By refusing to acknowledge these emotions, we give them secret control over our lives. They shape our decisions in subtle ways, influencing our thoughts, our behavior, and our relationships without our conscious consent. When you finally give attention to what you feel, when you sit with it, explore it, and honor it, you break this invisible chain. You take responsibility for your inner world, and in doing so, you reclaim your energy, your clarity, and your power. Acknowledgement also builds self-trust. When you meet your feelings honestly, you send a message to yourself: I can handle what arises within me. I can face discomfort without collapsing. I can navigate the depths of my inner world with courage and presence. Each time you honor a feeling, you strengthen the bond with yourself. You learn that no emotion is too overwhelming, no truth too painful, and no vulnerability too dangerous to face. This trust is the foundation of empowerment. It allows you to step into life with confidence, clarity, and integrity. Furthermore, acknowledging emotions deepens connection with others. When you understand your feelings and respond consciously, your interactions become authentic. You stop projecting unacknowledged pain onto others. You communicate with honesty and empathy. You inspire those around you to recognize and honor their own emotions. This ripple effect strengthens relationships, builds understanding, and fosters mutual respect. In the end, ignoring emotions is a surrender of power, but acknowledging them is a reclamation of it. By facing your inner landscape with attention, awareness, and compassion, you transform feelings from burdens into guides. You move from reaction to choice, from confusion to clarity, from weakness to strength. Each emotion, when acknowledged, becomes a source of insight, energy, and empowerment. Honor what you feel. Pay attention to it. Let acknowledgement restore your power and guide your life. Your reactions shape your life more than your circumstances. Many of us spend endless energy trying to change what is happening outside, believing that if only the situation were different, if only the people around us acted differently, if only life were easier, then we could feel better, act better, or become better. And yet, the truth is, external circumstances are never fully within our control. Life will always present challenges, surprises, and setbacks. What truly determines the quality of your experience is how you respond to those events, how you react when the world does not go according to your expectations, how you choose to act in the face of discomfort. Your reactions are the bridge between the outside world and your inner world, and mastering them is where true power and freedom reside. Consider anger. Two people can face the same situation, yet their reactions can be entirely different. One lashes out, loses control, and lets anger dictate words and actions, leaving a trail of regret. Another recognizes the feeling, takes a breath, and responds with awareness and clarity. The circumstance is the same, but the outcome is drastically different. The first allows the emotion to control life. The second allows life to be guided by conscious choice. This is the subtle but profound difference between living reactively and living deliberately. Your reactions, not the events themselves, define the quality of your days, the depth of your relationships, and the trajectory of your personal growth. Your reactions are reflections of your inner state. When fear rises, do you shrink and retreat, or do you face it with courage? When sadness appears, do you numb it with distraction, or do you allow it to teach and guide you? When joy arrives, do you fully embrace it, or do you minimize it, waiting for something better? Every reaction carries weight because it either reinforces patterns that limit you or builds new pathways toward growth. Over time, your habitual reactions become the foundation of your character, shaping not only what you experience, but who you become. The power of conscious reactions lies in awareness. To react with wisdom, you must first notice your emotions without judgment. You must pause long enough to understand what is arising within you and why. The moment between stimulus and response is sacred. In that pause, you can choose clarity over chaos, understanding over impulsivity, and intention over habit. Reactions born from awareness do not suppress feelings. They honor them while transforming their energy into purposeful action. This is the art of emotional mastery, the ability to let life happen around you without letting it control you. Circumstances will always challenge you. Life is unpredictable. People will disappoint, plans will fail, and the unexpected will appear. Yet, your reactions are always within your control. Choosing to respond with patience instead of frustration, with empathy instead of judgment, with courage instead of retreat, creates ripples that extend far beyond the moment. Your reaction has the power to heal or hurt, to inspire or discourage, to escalate or resolve. By taking responsibility for how you respond, you reclaim agency over your life. You become the author of your story rather than a passenger swept along by circumstance. It is important to remember that reaction is not the same as suppression. Reacting consciously does not mean denying your feelings or pretending that challenges do not exist. It means acknowledging reality fully, embracing what you feel, and responding in a way that aligns with your values and long-term goals. This is the key to freedom. Understanding that while you cannot always choose what happens to you, you can always choose how you meet it. Your inner strength grows not from avoiding difficulty, but from the clarity, courage, and intention with which you navigate it. The cumulative effect of conscious reactions is transformative. Each decision, each pause, each mindful response shapes the trajectory of your life. Over time, habits of awareness and thoughtful response strengthen resilience, sharpen insight, and deepen self-trust. You stop being controlled by circumstance and start shaping your life from a place of conscious choice. You realize that the world will not always bend to your will, but your mind and heart can bend toward mastery, awareness, and purpose. Ultimately, your reactions are your greatest tool and your greatest responsibility. They determine the depth of your peace, the quality of your relationships, and the extent of your personal growth. Mastering your reactions is not about perfection. It is about presence, attention, and intentionality. It is about meeting life as it comes with eyes wide open, heart present, and courage intact. Choose your reactions wisely. They are the architects of your life and the creators of your destiny. Emotions are energy. Learn to transform them into action. Every feeling that arises within you carries power. It is not passive, it is not meaningless. Joy is energy that can propel you forward. Anger is energy that can motivate change. Fear is energy that can sharpen focus. Sadness is energy that can deepen understanding. Too often, we treat emotions as obstacles to manage or burdens to bear. We attempt to suppress them, distract ourselves, or wait for them to pass. But in truth, each emotion is a reservoir of potential waiting to be channeled. When you learn to recognize the energy behind your emotions and transform it into purposeful action, you turn life itself into a canvas for growth, achievement, and mastery. Consider fear. Most people experience fear and shrink away from it, allowing it to dictate their decisions, limit their actions, and hold them back from opportunities. Yet fear is not a wall, it is fuel. It signals that something important lies ahead, that a challenge is present, and that courage is required. When you acknowledge fear, accept it, and harness it, the energy it provides can become a driving force. Fear transforms into preparation, focus, and decisive action. It sharpens your awareness, strengthens your resilience, and motivates you to step into situations that demand your best. The same energy that once paralyzed you now propels you forward with clarity and intent. Anger functions in a similar way. It is often seen as destructive, a force to be controlled or hidden. And yet anger is a signal that something in your life demands attention. When redirected consciously, it becomes the energy to set boundaries, demand respect, or take bold action. It is a warning light that calls you to examine what is unjust, misaligned, or neglected, instead of reacting blindly. When you convert anger into structured action, it becomes a catalyst for change rather than a source of conflict. Anger harnessed is strength. Energy transformed into purpose, and intensity converted into meaningful results. Joy and excitement, too, are powerful forms of energy. When you feel alive, inspired, or enthusiastic, it is a signal that you are in alignment with your values and desires. This energy can be transformed into creativity, productivity, and progress. It can drive you to innovate, to take bold steps, and to embrace opportunities that expand your life. The key is to act while the energy is present, to use it to create momentum, rather than waiting for external circumstances to validate it. Energy felt is energy meant to be expressed through action. Even sadness and grief, when acknowledged and understood, carry energy that can be transformed. Sadness encourages introspection, reflection, and empathy. It is a force that can inspire compassion, deepen relationships, and fuel personal growth. When you allow yourself to feel it fully, process it consciously, and act on the insights it provides, it becomes a transformative force. The energy of sadness can guide you to make choices that honor your needs, heal wounds, and strengthen your resilience. Transformation of emotional energy begins with awareness. You must first recognize the energy within you. Notice it, name it, feel it without judgment. Understand that every emotion carries momentum and direction. Then consciously decide how to channel that energy. Do not allow it to dissipate passively or to direct your life unconsciously. Instead, redirect it into deliberate action that aligns with your values, goals, and purpose. In this way, emotion becomes a tool rather than a tyrant, a force that empowers rather than constrains. This approach also builds mastery over your inner world. The more you practice transforming emotions into action, the less you are controlled by impulses and external circumstances. You begin to recognize that life itself is not what limits you. It is how you respond to the energy within that shapes your experience. Every emotional wave becomes an opportunity to act, to grow, and to transform both yourself and your circumstances. The truth is that life will always bring moments that stir strong emotions. Challenges will arise. Joys will surprise you. Fear and doubt will appear. The difference between those who are swept away by circumstances and those who navigate life with power lies in the ability to transform emotional energy into intentional action. This is where freedom, strength, and achievement intersect. By acknowledging emotions, understanding their energy, and acting consciously, you reclaim control over your life and convert every experience into a step toward growth and mastery. Embrace your emotions. Recognize their energy. Transform them into purposeful action, and watch how your life shifts from reaction to creation, from passivity to power. Understanding why you feel what you feel is the first step to mastering your life. Most people go through life reacting to emotions without ever asking why they exist, as if feelings are random storms with no purpose. But nothing in your inner world is accidental. Every thought, every impulse, every wave of emotion arises from a deeper place within you, carrying information that is essential to your growth, your clarity, and your ability to navigate life with intention. When you take the time to explore why you feel what you feel, you move from being a passive passenger to an active driver of your own experience. You start to see that your life is not shaped merely by circumstances or chance, but by the awareness and understanding you bring to each moment. Emotions are not random, they are signals pointing to truth. When you feel fear, it is not just a reaction. It is a signal that something matters deeply, that your attention is needed, that there is an opportunity for courage to emerge. When you feel sadness, it is not just pain, it is a reflection of unmet needs, lost connections, or unresolved experiences. When you feel joy, it is not just pleasure. It is a signal that you are aligned with your values and purpose. By asking why you feel, you uncover layers of meaning that guide your decisions, shape your actions, and inform your growth. Every emotion becomes a teacher, every reaction a lesson, and every moment an opportunity to understand yourself more deeply. Self-awareness is at the heart of this process. To understand your emotions, you must observe them without judgment. You must pause in the midst of discomfort and ask yourself questions others rarely encourage. What is this feeling trying to tell me? What past experience or belief is influencing it? What need, desire, or value is behind it? This requires honesty, patience, and courage, because the answers are not always comfortable. Some feelings may reveal insecurities you have avoided, fears you have ignored, or patterns that have limited you for years. Yet, the willingness to explore these truths is what sets you free. Understanding your feelings gives you clarity and allows you to act from a place of insight rather than impulse. Understanding your feelings also fosters emotional resilience. Life will always present challenges, disappointments, and surprises. Emotions will arise, sometimes intense, sometimes confusing. When you understand why you feel what you feel, you are no longer at the mercy of these fluctuations. You recognize that emotions are signals, not dictators. You can respond with calm, clarity, and purpose, even in the midst of turmoil. This is how mastery begins, not by avoiding difficult feelings, but by facing them, questioning them, and learning from them. The more you practice this, the stronger your ability to navigate life becomes. Clarity in understanding your feelings also deepens relationships. When you know why you feel a certain way, you communicate with honesty and authenticity. You no longer project unresolved emotions onto others. You respond instead of react. You create connection instead of conflict. Understanding your inner world allows you to engage with the outer world more effectively. to build trust, empathy, and meaningful interactions. Emotional mastery, after all, is not just about self-control. It is about harmony between yourself and the world around you. The journey of understanding your feelings is continuous. Each day brings new experiences, new challenges, and new emotional responses. The mind and heart are living landscapes that shift and change. By committing to self-awareness, by asking why you feel what you feel, you embrace a life of reflection, learning, and conscious choice. You stop being a slave to circumstance and start being the architect of your life. Each feeling becomes a guide, each insight a tool, and each choice a step toward a life of purpose and intention. Ultimately, understanding why you feel what you feel is the foundation for personal freedom. It is the key that transforms confusion into clarity, reaction into choice, and chaos into alignment. When you listen to your feelings, explore their roots, and act with awareness, you no longer drift through life unconsciously. You engage with every moment fully. You harness the wisdom of your inner world and allow it to guide your outer world. This understanding is not merely knowledge. It is power. It is clarity. It is the essence of living a life that is intentional, meaningful, and fully yours. Take the time to understand your feelings. In this understanding, you discover not only who you are, but also who you are capable of becoming. As we come to the end of this journey, remember this: your feelings are not random, they are not weaknesses, and they are never meaningless. Every emotion you experience is a message, a guide, a source of energy, and a doorway to understanding yourself more deeply. When you honor your emotions, explore their roots, and respond with awareness, you reclaim the power that is rightfully yours. You transform fear into courage, sadness into insight, anger into action, and joy into momentum. You move from being a passenger in life to being the driver, from reaction to intention, from confusion to clarity. Embrace your feelings, listen to them, and allow them to teach you. Let every emotion guide you toward growth, understanding, and purpose. Know that the more you understand why you feel what you feel, the more you understand yourself, your choices, and the life you are capable of creating. Life will always bring challenges, but with awareness, presence, and conscious action, you have everything you need to navigate them with strength and wisdom. So step forward with confidence, honor your journey, and transform every feeling into a force that propels you toward the life you truly desire. Your emotions are your allies. Your inner world is your compass. Trust it, follow it, and watch your life transform. Good luck on this journey of self-discovery and mastery. Thank you for allowing yourself to listen, reflect, and embrace the power of understanding your feelings.